So our last three episodes focus on someone who made $40,000 finding a deal. Another one was $30,000 finding a rundown house and passing it to an investor. And the way they got there was they were making 1,000 to 2,000 calls to homeowners that had rundown houses or were tax delinquent or something like that. And then they actually got a deal. So it's helpful, I realize, to not just learn from people who are ahead of you, but somebody who's right next to you doing amazing things. This episode, I've actually got in touch with David, somebody who's made 1,200 calls in the last 2 weeks. So it's about like 150 per day, per weekday. And that's exactly what it takes, is determination and consistency. So I know he's going to get a deal. He's got 4 houses that are saying yes, and he's going to ask me some questions on how to actually lock in that first deal. So for that reason, I know you're going to love this episode. And my name's David. I created DealMachine, which is a software that's helped people close their very first wholesale real estate deals over 10,000 times in all 50 states. And this is the podcast where you can learn how to wholesale, a strategy where you make money by finding a rundown house, passing it to an investor, and can build a business that will replace your W-2 income and allow you to go to even bigger and better things like buying businesses. For example, once you're doing a consistent stream of wholesale deals where you're making $500,000 a year, like one of our guests in the last couple episodes. So tune in. I know you're going to love this episode. All right, David, I'm so happy to talk with you because in the last 2 weeks, since we launched the dialer, you have made 1,200 calls, which is awesome. And it's about an average of about 120 calls per business day. And so I wanted to get a perspective from you on, it's very awesome what you've achieved in the sense of just being so consistent, which is really all it takes to have success. So I wanted I wanted to hear from you kind of what's been driving you to look for that first wholesale deal.
Okay. So right now I'm in school. I'm finishing up my degree for engineering, and it's been okay. It's just the thing is that I'm paying my way through school. So I've been trying to avoid loans as much as possible. And I actually came across wholesaling maybe 4 months ago. And I saw how you don't really need any capital. All you got to do is just go out there and just pretty much, it's all sweat equity. And I'm willing to work.
What type of engineering are you studying? Because I have an electrical engineering degree, didn't really use it because I got kind of really intrigued by real estate eventually. Yeah. And but I'm just curious what you're studying.
That's actually crazy because it's electrical engineering.
Cool. Yeah, no, I always liked that kind of stuff, was drawn to the idea of just electricity doing cool stuff. So great. I can understand that. So, and good on you for paying all your way through school.
Yeah. I mean, I've been going my way through. Is just, like I said, real estate as of late has really been intriguing to me because if anything, my end goal would be to get into real estate. So I've been just kind of like at a crossroads thinking if I could just start now and kind of jump straight in with wholesaling and doing this, maybe I could do that instead. But really, I'm not too sure because it's just engineering is such a good thing to finish with, to get a degree in. So
I'm trying to absolutely. It is. It's a good problem solving. It's very good for active income, right? If you decided to work that 9 to 5 and help put that money towards your real estate investing. I have an employee actually who has more rental properties than I do. He's got 32 rental properties and his name's Breton. He works at DealMachine and he's like, dude, I love what I do. He's like, I love being the head of finance. I love accounting. And I'm building real estate as a way to build wealth. And the active income just allows me to do that more aggressively. So it's awesome. You've got a lot of options. So I am curious, you're doing about 120 calls per day. Are you doing it every day like that? Or did you just do a lot of calls one day? Or how are you working the system?
So now I'm trying to pretty much like set up a system so that I have consistent leads coming in. So I'll try to go maybe like on Monday, I got, I think 200 leads. I try to go out daily or every other day to try to get at least 200 leads. And then I just sit there and just call. Once I'm done with that, I get a new list, just driving, and then the same, just rinse and repeat.
Got it. So you're all looking for rundown houses and that's the lists that you're calling.
Yeah.
Great. And so where are you going to school? Where are you driving around?
So right now I'm in South Florida, Broward County, and it is very competitive. Very competitive. So that's kind of like
you. It doesn't seem like it.
I'm trying to have like a different mindset about it. Just since it's so competitive, then there's a lot of opportunity out here. But it's usually by the time I've called somebody, they've had about five other people talk to them. So I'm pretty much just trying to figure out how to get my foot in the door with that. That's probably
Okay.
my biggest problem now.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing the right thing because obviously if they talk to four people before you, they're not ready. Someday they might be. So keep them on your follow-up list, right? And that's the name of the game in my experience, is not trying to convince someone to do a deal, but being the one who does call them on the day that something in their life happens that makes them want to do the deal. Could be a surgery, could be a death in the family, could be a son or daughter getting divorced and they need to move closer to help with the kids. You name it, there's an endless amount of scenarios, but it's just literally by being there, doing those calls, sending that mail, whatever it is just going to line up the timing right and give you the luck that you need. It's going to feel like luck, right? But it's not,
Yeah.
because you did the work. You actually were consistent. So I would say keep your head focused. And, I was just talking to somebody else who's doing this in Miami. So it's a little bit different part of Florida, but I would say still is equally competitive. Yeah. And he said that he's made about 2,000 calls. His a couple episodes before you, David Modesto, actually. That was it. Yes, he's done about 2,100 calls since we launched. So y'all are in the same ballpark, right? And he said he's got 2 appointments that turned into signed contracts so far. But he has been doing it for 3 years too. So just know that that's kind of a ballpark range of when something might start to happen. You're probably there. Have you found anyone out of the 1,200 calls where somebody was like, yeah, I actually, I do want to sell my house? Has anyone said that?
Yes. On Monday, I had 2 people pretty much give me like a heads up. Like they're like, yes, I do want to sell, but usually with the call back, they kind of just go ghost on me. I start calling them, they're just nowhere to be found. So I'm kind of just keeping up, just call them back. I'm not trying to drive them crazy. I don't call them every day, but I'll kind of give them a call back every now and again.
Why do you think somebody would say yes and then ghost you? Why do you think somebody would do that?
Right now, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's the approach that I'm coming in too heavy, but
I haven't listened to your approach, but you don't seem like a high pressure guy, so I don't think so. But selling your house is a big deal, and I think that it just takes people a while to come around to making a decision like that. And I would continue to follow up with them nicely and in a positive way, as if it were your great grandma and she's trying to make one of the biggest decisions of her life, right? Yes. So just be respectful, but continue to follow up and be helpful. There was a deal that I did. It was about 6 years ago. I was rehabbing a house. 2 doors down, a big tree fell on the house. It didn't do terrible damage, but it knocked the gutter off. It disrupted the shingles. And I was like, dude, somebody needs to know about that, because it's a nice house, but weirdly, nobody's been in or out of it in 3 months, So I was sending mail, but nobody lived there. So obviously the mail was just going to a full mailbox, and couldn't find her phone number at first, but dug a little bit deeper and did find it. She's like, oh my God, I had no idea that my tree fell. I moved 2 hours to Bloomington, Indiana. My daughter got divorced. She needed help with the kids. And so I'm just pulling my hair out thinking about this issue and how I'm going to solve it. Said, I could just buy your house, help you move down there, and you can leave anything you don't want behind, and I'll just handle the rest. And she did ghost me after we had that whole conversation.
Yeah.
But then I followed up, and about 2 weeks later, just out of the blue, she's like, okay, let's do the deal. And I was like, why didn't you text me back at least once during the last 2 weeks? And you just got to realize it's overwhelming. Yeah. And that's just what happens. So I would just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like you're doing it well.
Okay. And you would pretty much recommend texting, because that's one thing I don't usually do. I don't text. Usually I'll just make phone calls and leave a voicemail. But
so I personally don't text unless we've already had a communication, meaning they called me back from a piece of mail, or we talked on the phone, right?
Yeah.
So I would say if we had a positive conversation, then I would follow that up with a text from my personal cell immediately. Be like, thank you for the call. This is, something I could help with when you're ready. These what the next steps would be, like coming to see your house, coming to meet with you. When would be a good time? So if we didn't get that all established on the call, I would do that via text. Even if we did do it on the call, I would confirm it via text, right? Just so they have that visual there of the verbal confirmation that we had. So that's how I would handle it. And so we don't have outbound texting through DealMachine. But you just send a text, be like, hey, we just spoke on the phone. This is my personal cell. You don't have to say that's why it's a different number, but it'll make sense, right? Just be like, great conversation, recap, love to do the next step. Or, hey, are you still interested in selling your house? We talked a week ago, and this is my name. This is my personal cell. Wanted to text you and just be here for when and if you do, want an offer. So.
Gotcha. Because, I have maybe 3 or 4 deals right now just up in the air. Just like sometimes they'll answer the phone, sometimes they won't. And it's just pretty much just me trying to set an appointment.
Got it. Yeah. No, you're doing great. I would say just keep doing that. Keep friendly follow-up, every couple days. So you're doing the right thing.
Gotcha.
Another thing I like to put on the end of those texts, if they haven't responded, is, just let me know when you're ready. I can cash you out in 2 weeks. Just let me know. And so hope that helps. Do you have any other questions for me, by the way, or any kind of puzzling situations that you ran into?
Right now I've been trying to get into networking with people because down south I know there's a lot of events. It's just I'm not sure where to kind of turn to or who to go. That's probably like my next thing because I'm looking for more cash buyers. Like I want to know their criteria, what they're looking for, just so I can kind of tailor my offer to these homeowners.
Got it.
Hey guys, if you know you want to quit your job in the next 3 months, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast because we've got some incredible frameworks with step-by-step instruction that you're not going to want to miss. Also, leave us a rating and review to let us know your favorite parts and why you want to get financial freedom.
So in DealMachine, have you pulled the cash buyer list in your area? Do you know how to do that?
Actually, I haven't.
Okay. Center the map on your area where you're looking for deals, and then click quick list cash buyers, build the list, and then look at the owners of those properties and their phone numbers, right? Then you can just cold call them and see what their criteria is. Hey, I noticed you bought some deals cash in Miami, Florida. I've got a few deals. Was curious if I, could get from you like what you would be looking for. Or you can even look at their portfolio, dude. Do you know that?
Yeah.
You can look at their portfolio. You could see the properties they own, right? You just look for more properties like that.
Yeah. Wow, I did not know.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, do you want me to walk you through how to do it real quick?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
All right. I just figured since we're here, might as well. All right. So we got the tab, get the DealMachine tab. There you go. So here's in my area. I'll just do, this is Indianapolis. It's where I invest. Whoops. 46032 is Carmel, Indiana. So I can click that. And it's going to generate all the properties at first, 18,000 properties. So I'm going to do quick filters. I'll do cash buyers. And now let's see what that turns into. 4,000 properties. So I'll build that list. It should build in like 3 seconds. So hum to myself while it builds. Once it gets started, it should finish pretty quickly. So here it goes. Okay, there it goes. You see the progress bar now. It's already half done. And now it's done.
Okay.
So once that's built, I'll let the little progress bar finish up. There you go. Now I can open the list. Make that a little smaller for you. So let's take a look at this property in particular. Pulte Homes of Indiana. That's an LLC. So it says associated officers, blah, blah, blah. It's obviously a guy named Todd Shelton. Let's see if this guy, he's 63. It actually doesn't give too much info about this guy in particular. So let me do one that I think is more obvious. Oh, this is another LLC, of course. People keep their properties in LLCs, right? So, Onyx and East, that's actually a big builder. Obviously, it's owned by a guy named Andrew Lair. And so that's why it's showing me every Andrew Lair in the country where I get pick who that probably is. Let me go back again. Let me just find one what's more of an independent landlord. So this is a very weird, but look at this guy's name. I mean, Okay. I mean, that's matched on a name, bro. I don't think there's too many guys or gals with that name. So it's a 42-year-old. They live in Fishers, Indiana, which is real close. They own 5 properties. Look, Westfield, Fishers, Carmel. It's all the same area. So obviously, this guy loves properties between $300,000 and $600,000. He probably lives in the more expensive one, right? So
Yeah.
If I was looking for properties for this guy, this is what you don't even have to call him. You see what I'm saying? So you could tell what this guy wants to buy. So just wanted to show you that real quick. That's how I might go about finding what types of properties people want to buy. It might be a faster way for you to browse through that. Like take an hour or two, just browse through it. You probably make yourself familiar with 20 independent landlords. I would definitely do the independent more than the big companies. I would just find one. When you have it, call those 20 people, and we go from there. What other? Yeah, that was a fantastic question.
Yeah, I mean, if I could ask you for your advice, I do have an appointment later today at 3:00. Matter of fact, to see. But the thing is that it's a newer home. It's pretty much renovated already. They said they were willing to get a cash offer, but the thing is, the wife is a realtor, so she knows the comps. She knows supposedly what it would be worth. So that I'm not really too sure how to approach that.
You're not tricking anybody, right?
Yeah.
I would just say, before you even go on that appointment, just say, hey, I was thinking, I just want to clarify something. What I do is I buy homes for a living. In order for me to do that, I'm usually able to help people that want to and are looking to sell it. And for that reason, I'm not the best offer, right?
Yeah.
If somebody has a lot of time and they want to list a perfect, house on the market, I always recommend they do that. So I wanted to tell you that before I came out today. So that way you're not surprised at what my offer is, right? I do want to give you a fair offer, but again, I'm able to help. I'm not the highest and best, right? The way I specialize is in providing speed and convenience. Does that sound like your situation, right? And then if they say no, you just save everybody some time. If he says, oh, no, we do want to see what your offer is, well, then just go on the appointment. But yeah, you see what I'm saying? It kind of feels good to say that too, because you're actually kind of pushing them away, which makes some people kind of reach back out if they really do need help. So that's how I would handle that.
Gotcha. Okay, because that's mainly what I was worried about, that and like coming up with an offer. Because I know that if it's too low, they're not going to go for it. If it's too high, I'm not going to be able to get rid of the contract. So, because I mean, my idea was that like a renter would want to buy it and just put tenants in right away. It's already renovated, everything.
Right. You're never trying to surprise or trick someone. You're always trying to provide a service, and being honest and transparent with what that means is always going to be the way to go. And you'll be surprised. Again, somebody who does really need that will be happy and have no problem giving you a good price when they really do want the speed and convenience. I'll give you an example. I did a really smoking deal with a property in Indianapolis. It was owned by a orthodontist that lives in Utah. He actually bought it for $180,000, but for me, I could only do $160,000. He'd owned it for 5 years. It was falling apart. He never got his contractor to do the work on it, so it was just a headache and a burden because now he was behind on taxes too. So he actually brought $20,000 to the table to close, and I got it for $160,000. He owed $180,000. He even bought it for $180,000. So I'm just telling you, just keep calling until you find someone that just truly needs and wants that speed and convenience.
Gotcha. Because I mean, I've even been thinking about changing markets because the further north you go in Florida, like the cheaper it gets, the better it gets. Because down south, everything is just super high priced.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Like the sweet spot is not in. I live in Austin, Texas, by the way.
Yeah,
dude, it's so busy and with flipping and stuff here and right here. I always think that like the Outer Belt Highway and like within 20 minutes of that is a sweeter spot because it's just less competitive with people trying to get those deals. And you'll find 50-year-old ranch houses that just haven't been updated, right? And you can get great deals on those. So that's actually what I recommend then how I look myself for deals.
Okay, gotcha. Because then the nearest county that's right next to us that's feasible for what I'm looking for, which is like the 300,000 range, 400, is going to be maybe like 45 minutes away. So I'm thinking if it's just worth taking a day out, driving out there, driving for dollars for the entire day, trying to get 1,000 leads and just cold calling
Right.
that would be better than pretty much doubling down here and just recalling these leads and like hammering it down.
Yeah. Yeah. At the same time though, it's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You've got 4 people who said they did want to sell. So, I wouldn't get too discouraged about that, bro, because even somebody who's really experienced might have the same results. Like, I don't think you're doing a bad job. So I'd probably stick with it to what you're doing just for the fact of, well, let's give it a good solid try before moving all around. And I just think when you spread yourself too thin or you change directions too quickly, sometimes that can just lead to spinning your wheels. You know what I'm saying? So I might try for another couple weeks what you're doing.
Gotcha. All right, for sure.
But you're doing a great job with the consistency, and that's the biggest thing I see that tells me you'll be successful.
All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Any other questions, or should we check in a couple weeks and see how things are going?
I think a couple week check-in. Hopefully by then I'll have something locked up and
Me too.
open.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you so much, David.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, pleasure meeting you, David. You have a
Me
good
too.
one, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.